Hi friends, this is Selvijay here. Welcome to my networking channel. Hope all are doing good. And today the topic I'm going to discuss about how we can configure ASA active standby failover through an ASDM configuration. So in my previous video, I shown you how we can configure active standby failover through an CLI configuration. So this is I'm going to show you how we can configure through an GUI, that is for ASDM, right? So that is an adaptive security appliance device manager, which is a graphical representation for a Cisco ASA firewall. So for the active standby mechanism, to configure, I connected two firewall. One is active and standby. So both this firewall, I'm going to connect a link called a failover link. Okay. So what is the purpose of the failover link is, so in which it will send all the stateful information like TCP UDP connection states, ERP tables and NAT translation tables and other configuration information will be synced from the active to the standby firewall via this failover link. Okay. So this I'm going to connect at the last. So for this particular architecture, I have connected both the firewall inside and the outside interfaces to a non-manageable switch. Okay. So each and every firewall has an inside and an outside security zone. As always, we know inside is always mostly trusted and outside is less trusted, and always traffic flows from the higher to the lower security zone. Okay. So for the active firewall, the inside IP is 1.1 and the outside is 2.1. For the standby it is 1.2 and the outside IP will be 2.2. Okay, these are things. And here I'm going to connect a failover link. So this failover link IP address is 12.1 and standby is 12.2. So these are things. And for the accessing through ASDM, I have connected this firewall primary and the secondary firewall to the cloud, right? GNS3 cloud. So one is 84.50 and another is 84.51. So this interface is management interface of this ASA firewall. I have connected to this mainly for accessing the ASDM configuration. For that reason, I have connected. So now let us go to the configuration for a better understanding. So initially I configure only this particular ASDM IP. One is 50.50 and .51. Okay. So let us go to the configuration and let us view the management IP. Show running interface management 0 by 0. So this is the IP I configured 84.50 for the primary active firewall, and for the secondary firewall I configured the IP as 84.51. Okay, so these are the things I have configured. So now let us quickly go to the ASDM and let us start with the configuration. Okay, so also now let us, what are things other than that I have configured is, for the accessing ASDM we have to enable the HTTP. Okay, so these are the commands. HTTP server enable, then the HTTP 0.0 management. These are things we have to enable for accessing the ASDM for the Cisco ASA firewall. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to configure this directly connected interfaces for both the active and the standby firewall. And then the second step, I am going to configure the failover configuration for both active and the standby. And then at last I will be connecting the link, the failover link from the primary to the standby for syncing the configuration information from the active to the standby firewall, right? So these are things I'm going to do. Now let us configure one by one. So this is my 84.50 is the primary configuration, that is the active firewall configuration. So now let us go ahead and configure these interfaces, right? That is 1.1 and 2.1 interfaces, and also additionally I have to configure the standby IP on the primary firewall itself. Let us go here and go to the configuration. Let us go to the configuration, okay, and go to the device setups, okay, and go to the interface settings, click interfaces, and now let us configure the IP. One is inside is gigabit 0 by 0 and outside is 0 by 1. Okay, let us configure it. Just double click, and interface name is inside, okay, and the security level is 100 since it is mostly trusted. Now let us enable the interface, and the IP is 192.168.1.1. mask is 24-bit mask. Click OK, just click OK. And also the secondary interface, that is 0 by 1 is outside interface, right? As per the architecture, this is the outside interface, that is 2.1, and the security level will be 0 since it is less trusted. Okay, outside, and the security level is 0. Enable the interface 192.168.2.1, 255.255.0. Click OK, just click OK, and let us apply the configuration. Okay, so now let us go to the second configuration, that is standby firewall, right? The standby firewall IP is 51. So just let us click 51, go to the device list and click this 84.51, just save. So now it will walk you to the second configuration and I'm going to configure the same IP. Okay. So both the primary and the standby thing I have to configure the same IP 1.1 and 2.1 and standby will be 1.2 and 2.2. Okay. So let us go here. So the interface name is inside, security level is 100, enable the interface 192.168.1.1, 255.250, click OK, just click OK. Similar way, the second IP is 2.1. Okay, the same IP I have to configure in the standby also. That always keep it in mind when come to active standby firewall scenario. Okay, go here. Just click the interface name as outside. Okay, security level is 0. Enable the interface and the IP is 192.168.2.1 and the mask is 24-bit mask. Just click OK. Okay, and apply the configuration. So we are done with the configuration and we apply the security level. Just apply it. Okay, so now let us go ahead and configure the standby IP for both this active and the standby firewall and also the failover scenario. Okay, so at last we'll connect the particular link. So let us go here and click the device list, go to the 84.50 IP, save the configuration and just go to this particular configuration and you have to click the device management. Okay, there's separate tab called device management. So you have to click the device management IP. Just click device management and go to the file high availability and scalability. Just click failover. Okay, so now I am going to enable the failover. So previously I shown you through the command line. The same step I am going to configure through GUI also. So this configuration I would enable as a primary and this failover I have to configure as a secondary. Okay, so let us go here and what I'm going to do, just enable the failover. So just enable failover and the interface is gigabit 2. So this interface I'm going to connect at last, that is gigabit 2 and that interface I'm going to enable. So I have to specify the logical name. So the logical name, let us make it as fail and active IP for the this particular IP. This particular failover link, one is 12.1 and the secondary is 12.2. Okay, so that I'm going to configure here 192.168.12.1 and also the standby IP will be 12.2 and the mask is 24-bit mask. Also we have to configure this failover state. Okay, interface is same interface, that is gigabit interface 2. That is the interface I'm going to connect now. Okay, is gigabit 2, then preferred role will be primary. So this is for the active firewall, always the role will be primary. So I'm just clicking primary, then apply the configuration. Okay, so it will prompt for something, just discard it, click no. So now apply the configuration, now click the interfaces. Okay, so now you click the interfaces and I already told here itself you have to configure the, I already configured the inside as 1.1 and outside as 2.1. Now I have to use the standby IP as 1.2 and the standby IP for outside is 2.2. So the similar configuration I have to configure for the my standby firewall also. So here you are able to see inside 1.1 IP and the mask. Here you have to just double click it and enter the standby IP 192.168.1.2 and also for this gigabit 01 192.168.2.2. So these are the things I'm going to configure. Now we just click apply. Okay, now we apply the configuration and also we have done the failover configuration also. So now you directly jump to the secondary firewall, that is 84.51 and I'm going to configure the same configuration. Okay, let us go there. Let us go to the device list. Okay, just click device list and click the specific device 84.51. Just save the configuration. Now it will take you to the secondary firewall, that is 84.51. Just click enable the failover. Okay, just enable the failover. So we are in this particular thing. Okay, so just click device management, high availability and scalability, click firewall, enable the failover. Now the interface, the same interface, gigabit 2. Okay, so the same interface you have to do, gigabit 2 and the logical name, let us give as fail and the active IP, similar way the same IP 12.1 and 12.2. Okay, so that you would always keep it in mind. What are the IP I'm going to configure here in the primary, the same IP I will to give here also. So 192.168.12.1 and 192.168.12.2, and the role is secondary, and the mask is 24-bit mask. Okay, and now the interface is gigabit 2. And now before clicking apply, now go to the interface mode. Here I have to give the same IP. 1.1 is the primary and the standby is 1.2, and for outside 2.1 and standby is 2.2. Okay, so 192.168.1.2 and the standby is 192.168.2.2. just click apply now. So just discard this. Okay, so now we have done with the configuration for primary and the secondary. What we have done, we have configured the interfaces inside and outside with the standby IPs 1.2 and 2.2. The similar thing I have done for secondary also with primary 1.2 and 2.1 and the standby as 1.2 and 2.2. So why we are doing the similar configuration is whenever the active goes on, automatically the standby will take over the active role. So just like HSRP, right? Whenever the primary goes down, automatically the secondary will standby will take over the active role. Similar like scenario, when this active goes down, the standby will take over the active role. So that is the purpose of the failover link. And now we have configured the interfaces, and the second thing, we have enabled the failover in both this particular primary and the standby. So let us view the running configuration for a better understanding. So this is a primary firewall, show running configuration. Okay, just click. So these are things I have configured. Gigabit 0 1.1 and standby is 1.2 and second interface 2.1, standby is 2.2. So now also keep it in mind, this interface should be no shut mode. This is a failover interface, failover link. Okay, so this link is a failover link, it should be in no shut mode. So now let us view the failover configuration. Okay, so just do show run include failover, just include failover. So now you are able to see this command, this thing we only enable through this GUI, and the same thing you are able to see here, failover LAN unit primary and the LAN interface gigabit 2, and the link failover we have to specify the same interface, and then we have done the primary and the secondary interface IP for this particular failover link. Okay, this thing we already done. Now let us view the configuration from the secondary also. This is secondary firewall, include failover. Okay, so only changes here, it is unit is primary, here it will be secondary. Other than that, the configuration remains the same. So even the interface configuration remains the same for both the primary and the secondary. That always you keep it in mind. So now we have done with all the configuration. Now I'm going to connect the link from the primary to the secondary firewall. I'm going to connect via gigabit 2 interface link. Okay. So now we have connected the gigabit interface link. After connectivity, you can see here automatically the configuration information will be replicated from the active to the standby. Let us go here. So now you are able to see, right, the configuration has changed, replication to mate, beginning configuration replication, sending to mate. What it means is, so now after connecting the failover link, automatically what are the configuration we have done here, automatically it will be replicated to the secondary via the stateful link. So also all the information like a stateful information like TCP UDP connection states, and also the NAT information and VPN information, and what are the information we are configuring here will be automatically replicated to the standby immediately. So whenever the active goes down, the standby will take over the active role. So now let us view the command. Okay, so let us go to primary firewall, do show failover. So now you can see here this particular primary is active, and this is the secondary firewall. Similar way, let us go to the secondary firewall and let us view the configuration, show failover. So this becomes the secondary, right? It is syncing the configuration, this becomes the secondary. Now let us check. So now you are able to see the configuration. So the primary is active. Also you can see here secondary. And one more thing, interface management, it is showing us waiting in a waiting mode. Why? Because so that is the reason I have not connected the failover link. Why? Because whenever I'm configuring any management interface, the same IP will be synced to the secondary also. So in that scenario, what I can do, I can't access the my ASDM via this particular IP. So that is the reason initially I created a standalone IP for management, right? One is 50 and 51. So that is the reason at last I connected the failover link. So now what happened? So now we have to create the standby interface for the management interlink also. Let us go here how to do that. So let us go here. So just do show running configuration interface management 0 by 0. So now it is showing 50. Let us check the secondary also. Okay. Show running interface management 0 by 0. So now you are able to see the changes, right? So what I have done is before connecting the link, so management IP, this I have designated as 50 and 51. What happened after connecting my link? Okay, what happened? Whatever things I have configured in this management IP automatically sync the same configuration. So both will remain the same IP. So in that scenario, I can't access via my ASDM. So both will have the same IP 84.50. So right, for that reason, I have connected my failover link at last. So now I am going to change my management IP. How I am going to do is just go to the configuration mode, go to interface management 0. Okay, just click this IP address followed by the standby IP. Standby IP I am going to 192.168.84.51. So this is the IP I am going to do. Let us do a no shut. Okay, so now let us check the configuration. So this is a configuration. The similar configuration I am going to replicate for my secondary firewall also. So now not required to replicate because already I have connected the failover link. So what are the changes I have completed over here? Automatically this change will be replicated toward my secondary firewall also. Let us now check. So we're able to see, right? I'm able to see the changes what I have done in the primary firewall, but you can't do any changes in the secondary firewall. Why? Because it will not allow. Always the configuration will be replicated from to active to the standby, but not from the standby to the active. That is the reason I changed the management IP now. So now you should be in a position to connect both the 50 IP and the secondary IP also. So that is the reason initially I have not connected my failover link, right? So now you can check here also. So we're able to check, and also you can check the interface IP. Go to device setup or go to device management and click interface. Now you can see the primary and the standby IP for the active and the standby IP for the management also. I set it that way. Okay. So that's all about this ASA active standby failover. So what are things I have done is first I have configured the primary and the secondary firewall, right? First I have configured the inside and the outside security zone for the active and the standby firewall. Then I have specified in the active the standby IP as 1.2 and 2.2. Similar thing configuration I have done for my secondary firewall also. Then we have configured the failover for the active and the standby. Then I have connected the failover link. So then you automatically saw the replication from the primary to the secondary firewall. So right now let us see the status. Show failover status. So it is already showing all normal, right? So that means it is fine. So this is showing as an active. Let us now check from the secondary also. Show failover. So we're able to see standby is ready and the primary is active. Okay, so this is the way we can configure the active standby failover through ASDM. Okay, so in case if I want to reboot this automatically, the secondary firewall will go to the active mode. So if you want, we can do a reload and just do enter and click yes. So automatically what happened, the secondary firewall after some time it will go to the active mode. Okay, so these are the things I want to show you. So we have performed the reload on the primary, it is rebooting. Okay, now you are able to see the secondary switching to active. Okay, so that means what are the configuration information will be there, it automatically replicated to the secondary. So secondary is ready to take anytime the active mode. So whenever this goes down or if there is any issue in the primary, automatically the standby will take over the active role with all the configuration information synced from the primary, right? So I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos. Thanks and have a wonderful day. Thank you.